A few days ago, I started a simple tomato experiment. I planted 5 identical tomato plants, giving every single one the exact same soil, sunlight, and water. The only difference? The fertilizer. 30 days later, when I finally checked the results, I was genuinely stunned. One fertilizer didn't produce a single tomato on the plant, while another single-handedly gave me double the yield of all the others combined. In today's video, I'm going to show you the exact results of all 5 fertilizers, so you can see which feed works best for your tomato plants and which costly mistakes you need to avoid. If you want to grow bigger, more abundant tomatoes in your own garden with way less effort, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon, so you never miss any of our practical gardening guides. Most gardeners run into the exact same frustrating problem every single year. They take care of their tomato plants every day, water them right on schedule, and even buy the most expensive fertilizers from the nursery. Yet, within just a few weeks, the plant shoots up 5 or 6 feet tall. The leaves look lush, thick, and deep green, but there's not a single flower or tomato anywhere in sight. And if a few flowers do manage to appear, they usually dry up and drop off before ever opening, or the tiny tomatoes that form end up turning black and rotting from the bottom. Most people assume the plant didn't get enough sunlight, or that they messed up the watering schedule. But the real culprit is feeding the wrong nutrients at the wrong time. When you give a tomato plant too much fertilizer that focuses entirely on leafy growth, the plant completely stops putting energy into producing fruit. To solve this exact problem, I designed this completely controlled test. I took 5 equal-sized tomato seedlings of the exact same variety and potted all 5 into identical 12-inch containers. The potting mix, the daily 6 hours of direct sunlight, and the exact watering schedule were kept identical for every single plant for the entire 30 days. The only difference was that each plant received a completely different type of fertilizer, some chemical, some slow release, and some 100% natural organic options. I'm going to share the exact data with you, including the real harvest weight from each plant, the fruit quality, and the overall plant health, so you don't have to guess in your own garden, and you can go straight to the feed that delivers the maximum harvest. So, let's jump straight into the results you've been waiting for. I ranked all 5 of these fertilizers based on 3 key factors: total harvest weight, fruit quality, and the overall health of the plant. We're going to start this countdown with the lowest performer coming in at number 5, and work our way up to the number 1 winner that completely shattered all the records. Let's take a look at which fertilizer delivered the absolute worst result in this test. Coming in at number 5 is an extremely popular, high-nitrogen chemical fertilizer with an NPK ratio of August 24, 2016. Right after applying this fertilizer, the plant grew so fast in the first 2 weeks that it actually looked like the healthiest of the bunch. The leaves turned a rich, deep green, and the main stems grew noticeably thick. But when it was time for flowering, this plant turned out to be the biggest disappointment. It produced only 4 or 5 blossoms in total, and half of those ended up dropping off before setting fruit. After 30 days, when harvest day finally arrived, this entire plant yielded just 2 small tomatoes, weighing in at a measly 220 grams. The science behind this is simple. Excessive nitrogen forces all of the plant's energy into building foliage and branches, preventing it from ever diverting fuel into fruit development. Coming in at number 4 is a standard balanced October 10, 2010 granular fertilizer. This is the kind of all-purpose feed you can find at almost every nursery, and beginner gardeners often use it without a second thought. The results on this plant were definitely an improvement over number 5. The plant's growth remained steady, and it put out around 10 to 12 blossoms. However, the main issue was that the fruit stayed quite small, and it took far too long to ripen. The total harvest weight came out to around 650 grams. The problem here is that once a tomato plant starts setting fruit, It doesn't need equal amounts of nitrogen, it craves higher levels of phosphorus and potassium. The balanced feed kept the plant alive and green, but it simply couldn't trigger that heavy, productive harvest. Right here, a fundamental gardening rule becomes crystal clear. A tomato plant does not need the exact same nutrition at every stage of its life. In the beginning, a moderate dose of nitrogen works fine. But the moment you spot that very first flower blossom, the plant's demand for phosphorus, potassium, and calcium suddenly skyrockets. Now, we're moving on to our top 3 performers. And from this point forward, the harvest numbers are about to double and triple. Because all 3 of these belong to the natural, slow-release category. Coming in at number 3 is a slow-release organic tomato tone fertilizer enriched with microbes. The biggest advantage of this feed was that it activated beneficial bacteria deep within the soil, allowing the root system to slowly absorb essential nutrients without any risk of chemical burn. Flowering on this plant was remarkably consistent, and blossom drop was virtually zero. The fruit size was uniform across every cluster, and by harvest day, we pulled in roughly 1.4 kilograms of fresh, healthy tomatoes. This is the perfect set it and forget it option for anyone who doesn't want the hassle of mixing liquid feeds every week and just wants a reliable, heavy yield by scratching fertilizer into the soil once a month. Coming in at number 2 is liquid fish and kelp emulsion. This is an all-natural liquid fertilizer that delivers an instant dose of bioavailable micronutrients and trace minerals straight to the plant. Applying a light feeding once every 10 days triggered an incredible response. The main stems thickened up, the foliage stayed a vibrant green, and large, healthy flower clusters formed on almost every branch. Best of all, kelp is loaded with natural growth hormones, which shielded the plant from extreme heat and sun stress. On harvest day, this single plant delivered roughly 2.1 kilograms of juicy, firm, full-size tomatoes. For routine organic growers, this is truly a top-tier performer. Coming in at number 1 is the undisputed champion of this entire experiment, a custom calcium-potassium blend made from bone meal, sulfate of potash, and aerated compost tea. This single combination delivered a massive harvest of 4.35 kilograms, more than double the yield of almost every other plant in the test. Behind these extraordinary numbers is simple, solid science. The bone meal developed an extensive root network and supplied a steady stream of phosphorus, which prevented blossom drop entirely. The potash rapidly expanded fruit size and density, while the bioavailable calcium in the soil completely eliminated any sign of blossom end rot or skin cracking. Every single branch was loaded with heavy, tightly packed fruit clusters. If you want to pull a record-breaking harvest from a single tomato plant, this blend is the absolute gold standard. So, this 30-day experiment makes one thing crystal clear. Just making a plant grow tall isn't real success. Delivering the right nutrients at the right stage is the real secret. In the early weeks, feed your plant standard organic compost, so it builds thick stems and a strong frame. The moment flowering begins, completely cut out synthetic high-nitrogen fertilizers and switch immediately to feeds rich in calcium, phosphorus, and potassium. This one simple adjustment can easily double or even triple the total yield from a single tomato plant. Now, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments. What fertilizer are you currently feeding your tomato plants? And have you ever run into that frustrating issue where the plant grows huge and bushy, but ends up producing 0 tomatoes? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading every single comment and replying to you. If you found this experiment and the practical data helpful, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our upcoming gardening experiments and easy plant care guides. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy gardening!